That's really funny. It asked me if I wanted to leave the Zoom because we're streaming live. All right, let's get this motherfucker going. Oh, let's welcome everybody to the Yin Yang Wolfpack, officially on IMC TV. What's going on, everybody? Man, life is good, man. Life is really good, and it keeps getting better. And I don't know how far this thing is gonna go, man. I think it could go like global. And I really that is the vision, is to eventually, this it's already a global movement, right? But it's like to what extent can you affect the world? You know what I mean? And I think as my skills develop, as the team's skills develop, like it's only gonna keep rising meteorically. Like there's no limit to this thing. There's no limit to you. You have no limit. Don't there's a nice quote. It says the mind, again, it is the mind that perceives the limit is the limit. The mind that perceives the limitation is the limitation. There are no limitations placed unless you're the one placing them. How many numbers are there in the universe? An infinite amount. So really, if you just started counting, you could go forever and ever and ever for the rest of your life. And you could just keep counting. There's no limit to it. How much money could you make? There's no limit. How many creations can you make? There's no limit. How many cards can we make? How many trees are there? How much sand? How many particles of sand are there? How many stars are there? It is infinite. And it's weird because, we're programmed to be able to think of only finite things, right? You see like the structure, like there's a boom, 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 boom. There's lines here, right? I live within a confinement, so to speak, of a home, right? It is a space in the universe that is limited, right? There's only so much property. However, the mind is not limited. I could right now think of anything. Let's say that I think of Europe. Okay, I've been to Europe. I can think of Asia. I have never been to Asia, but I could be to Asia in my mind right now. I could imagine being on top of the Great Wall of China. I can imagine being in Tokyo. Africa, I've never been to Africa. I can imagine being in Egypt, looking at the pyramids. There is nothing holding you back. There's nothing holding you down. It is only us that holds us down, no matter what we're doing. So this can go as far as money. This can go as far as relationships. AZD has shown us that there is no limit to how many girlfriends you can have. Motherfucker got to 17. What the hell? Man, I had enough trouble handling one. Like that was like, I had to get to the level of handling one. Bro, 17? What the fuck? Okay. What is the limits as far as the body? Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you look at his videos, oh my God, man, that guy was ripped and huge, right? And I'm sure technology and steroids and all of that has only gotten so much better to where you could look better than Arnold Schwarzenegger did in the 80s or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there is no limit to this thing, man. You and me, us together, we keep putting limits on ourselves as to what is possible. Like me, like with my businesses, I am part of the Warrior Art Center, but I'm also a lawyer. I'm also working here in California. I'm also working in Houston. Like, what the heck? That's crazy to me already. How the heck did I do this? I'm licensed in 2 states. What the heck? How did I do this thing? Man, that's only 2 states. How many states are there? 50? All right, I got 48 more to go. Forget that. How many countries are there on Earth? Okay, I got that many more to go. Oh, I assume there are different licenses in different states over there. Maybe not. Maybe there is. I don't know. But maybe more than likely, that's probably more that still needs to occur. Oh my God, you can shut up. There's no limit whatsoever. Okay, so what do we want to talk about today? I want to talk about what's been inspiring me for the past couple weeks, the Bhagavad Gita. So maybe it was yesterday, I went over the yoga of, was it renunciation? Yes. So today, let's go over the next chapter. Wisdom and realization. Oh, yeah. That's some good stuff. All right, wait, give me a second. Okay. Wisdom and renunciation. The blessed Lord said, listen, Arjuna. Arjuna is our protagonist. So that's you and me, right? We're the protagonists in the story. We are Arjuna. The blessed Lord said, imagine God is talking to you. Imagine Jesus has manifested in the flesh, right? God in the flesh, Jesus is right here. And he talks to you, the hero. Listen, Will. Listen, students. Listen, Arjuna. I will tell you how you can know me beyond doubt by practicing non-attachment and surrendering yourself to me. Wow. I will teach you the essence of this wisdom and its realization. When you come to master this, there is nothing further that needs to be known. Wow. When you master wisdom and its realization, there is nothing further that needs to be known. Of 10,000 men, perhaps, one man strives for perfection. Of 10,000 who strive, perhaps one man knows me in truth. Earth, fire, water, and wind, air, mind, and understanding, and the eye sense. These are the 8 aspects of my physical nature. This is my lower nature, but beyond this, I have another, higher nature, the life that sustains all beings in the world. Know that it is the womb from which all beings arise. The universe is born within me, and within me will be destroyed. There is nothing more fundamental than I, Arjuna. Arjuna is you, Arjuna is me. All worlds, all beings are strung upon me like pearls on a single thread. So pearls on a single thread, that reminds me of this thing called Indra's net. So if you don't know what Indra's net is, it's this concept in Buddhism. I believe it's Zen Buddhism specifically. And the idea is that you imagine like a spider web, right? So it's like a whole organization of a web. And on everywhere that the lines cross, on each one of these, imagine that there's a crystal or like an orb or like a glass, like a glass crystal or a glass, like something reflective. And so you look into one of these little, tiny things, right? And then you see like a crystal. Now, imagine the spider web is also 360. And imagine that goes on forever in every direction, right? And 360 degrees that way, 360 that way. In every single direction, in all ways, there is a spider web that goes out, and they're all connected by these crystals. And you look into one crystal, and you see the reflection of every other crystal. And so that is Indra's net. And so what that represents is that each one of us are a single crystal on this infinite web or a net, right? Indra's net. It's on this infinite web in every direction. And you, by looking at one, you see the rest because they are all reflecting each other at all times. And that is you and that is me. We are all part of Indra's net. And by being that, we are the entire thing because we reflect the entire thing. And this goes into alchemy, right? As above, so below. The way the universe is arranged is the way that our body is arranged. The way our body is arranged is the way the tree is arranged, right? But these are just different manifestations of the same energy. It's different branches from the same tree. And that is us. We are all, you think of it as thought projections. I heard this word a long time ago. It's like thought projections from the mind of God. And that is what you are, meaning that you have the divinity within. You are divine and you are reflecting everything at all times. Right now, I am reflecting what is around me. You are reflecting what is around you. Who are you around all the time? You are reflecting them. Where are you all the time? You are reflecting that. So then as you walk, as you move through the world, that is being shown in you. Now this works the other way. At all times, people are reflecting you back to you. And so you, by, let's say, being a piece of shit, low dirty motherfucker, you are creating that in other people. Now, how about you being a man of God, divinity, strength, power, awe? You, by being that, you create that in others around you. Because why? Because they're reflecting you. And so, like, I think of this in the way of like teacher to student, or like mother to father, or I'm sorry, father to son. It's like, are you a reflection of the divine? Yes, you are, but are you really reflecting the divine? Are you really reflecting like God's word and God's power? Like, what if you were really doing that, like with all your being? What if you were really reflecting God at this very moment? Now, what if you walked through the world as if you were God's son? Like, really? What if you were really just expressing that shit? Like that would be the type of life that I would want to live. And that's what we're going for. All right, again. Of 10,000 men, perhaps one man strives for perfection. Of 10,000 who strive, perhaps one man knows the truth, or knows me in truth. And this is Jesus speaking, or Krishna. Earth, fire, water, and wind, air, mind, and understanding, and the eye sense. These are the 8 aspects of my physical nature. Earth, fire, water, wind, air, mind, understanding, and the eye sense. So from what I know of astrology, Earth represents the physical, right? Like the body. Fire represents like the spirit, or like action. Water represents the emotions. Wind or air represents the mind. And and mind and understanding. Okay, so these are like more stuff in the Bhagavad Gita that I'm not too sure of. Mind and understanding, I can see those. Oh yeah, air is like thoughts, is what I meant. And the eye sense. There is nothing more fundamental than I, Arjuna, in all worlds. All beings are strung upon me like pearls on a single thread. So all beings are strung upon God in a single thread. I am the taste in water, the light in the moon and the sun. Nice. The sacred syllable Om in the Vedas, the sound in air. So something that's really cool about Om that I learned from TM. So like the ancients, with the very first language, whenever you said a word, what that word did is it vibrated at the same frequency that particular thing did. So if you say the original word for the sun vibrates at that frequency. Like think of it like music. And so Om represents basically like it's the average frequency of the universe. So if you like think about this, you know what average is? Average is like 3 + 2 + 5. If you add them all together, so what 3 + 2 is 5, 5 + 5 is 10. So 10 divided by 3. So the average of those 3 numbers is 3.3. Right? And so if you add up all the frequencies of the universe, so like let's say all of the planets and all of the people in it, and this fucking chair and this fucking this TV, this water, like if you average all of these things together, like meaning you add them all up and then divide them by the number that there are, like the total items, the average frequency of the universe is Om. So when people do that, what they're doing is they're tapping into that original frequency. Okay? And so by chanting that, what you do is you stabilize yourself, right? Like throughout your life, throughout your day, you're doing stuff, you're thinking about stuff, you're kind of anxious about this, you're kind of scared about that, you get excited, you get angry, you get sad, you get happy, like you're fluctuating, right? And so what meditation does, and specifically like chanting Om, is it equilibrates all of it, right? It simmers it all down to sort of flatness. And that's what people get like really like addicted to that stuff, because it calms you the fuck down, man. It chills you the fuck out. Now, the thing about chanting Om, they told us in TM, like our teacher, is that it is a resting frequency. And so whenever you do that for too much, whenever you do that, like it's not like too much, right? It's like it has a purpose, right? Like the purpose of that is to create the rest, to create the frequency. Now, if you the thing is, you might not necessarily want to do that if you're about to go act. Like if you're about to go to war, like in like 5 minutes, you probably don't want to be like oming, right? Because it's gonna chew you the fuck out and you're just gonna like want to go to sleep or something. So what we do in TM is we chant different frequencies that are more in the middle of like activity. So like imagine you're vibrating in the way that you're about to act. You're about to go do something, right? So that's a little story on Om. In the Vedas, the sound in air. Excuse me. I am the fragrance in the earth, the manliness in men, the brilliance in fire, the life in the living, and the abstinence of the ascetics. I am the primal seed within all beings, Arjuna, the wisdom of those who know, the splendor of the high and mighty. I am the strength of the strong man who is free of desire and attachment. I am desire itself. When desire is consistent with duty, all states of being, whether marked by sattva or rajas or tamas, proceed from me. They are in me, not I in them. Because most men are deluded by the states of being, they cannot recognize me, who am above these, supreme and eternal. But those men who turn to me can penetrate beyond this wondrous power of mine, this magic created by the three gunas. Others are deluded by my power. They do not attempt to find me, and in their ignorance sink into demonic evil. Whoa. There are 4 kinds of virtuous men who worship me, Arjuna. The man in distress, the man who seeks power, the man who seeks wisdom, and the sage. Interesting. Of these 4, the sage is the most praiseworthy. Okay. So you don't want to be a man in distress. You don't want to be a man who seeks power. You don't want to be a man who seeks wisdom. I feel like they're leveling up, right? It's like one level is that you're in distress and you're looking for God. Like, please help me. Then there's the man who seeks power. I want to be strong, so I'm looking for God. The man who seeks wisdom. I want to be wise, so I'm looking for God. And the sage. Of these 4, the sage is the most praiseworthy, unattached, steadfast. That man is supremely beloved by me as I am by him. So let's define sage. What is a sage? Sage definition. Okay, and it's giving me sage like the herb. A profoundly wise man, especially one who features in ancient history or legend. So it seems like wisdom and sage, being a sage, are kind of along the same lines here. Having, showing, or indicating profound wisdom. Let's see. So how is a man seeking wisdom different from a sage? I guess a sage already has it, right? Whereas the man who is seeking wisdom is seeking wisdom. He's seeking something. Whereas the sage is someone who has the wisdom. Okay, so where is the origin of sage? To be wise. So that's what it means. Sage. Interesting. Okay. So, of these 4, the sage is the most praiseworthy, unattached, steadfast. That man is supremely beloved by me as I am by him. All these are noble-minded, but the sage is my very self. Oh shit. Calm, untroubled. He dwells in the ultimate goal, in me. He dwells in God. Fuck. At the end of his many lives, the sage unites with me thinking, Krishna is all that is. Great souls like this are rare. Men whose wisdom is darkened by desires Men who are hemmed in by the limits of their own natures take refuge in other gods. But whatever the form of reverence, whatever God a sincere devotee chooses to worship, I grant him an unswerving faith. Empowered by his faith, that man earnestly seeks the God's favor and obtains the things that he desires, because I myself have ordained it. Wow. Empowered by his faith, that man earnestly seeks the God's favor and obtains the things he desires, because I myself have ordained it. So what if Jesus wants you to have exactly what you desire? Man, hell yeah, I love that. But fleeting is the reward that men of small minds are given. They will go to the gods they worship, but my worshipers come to me. Though I am unmanifest, fools think that I have a form, unaware of my higher existence, which is permanent and supreme. Veiled in my mystery and power, I am not perceived by most men. Their deluded minds cannot see me. The unborn, the changeless, the undying. I know all beings who have passed, and all who live now, Arjuna, and all who are yet to be, but I am beyond all knowing. All beings are born to ignorance, ruled by aversion and craving. This, Arjuna, is the primal duality that keeps men bound. But when a man is released from dualities, he can act purely without attachment and can serve me with all his heart. Those who take refuge in me, striving for release from old age and death, know absolute freedom and the self and the nature of action. Those who know me and the nature of beings, of gods and of worship, are always with me in spirit, even at the hour of their death. Beings of God and worship are always with me in spirit. Hell yeah. So I don't know, let's look at that, man. Empowered by his faith, the man that earnestly seeks the God's favor and obtains the things he desires, because I myself have ordained it. So you, by having, for real, man, what if you really had so much faith and that you knew that you were going to get what you desire? Would you act any differently? Let's say you knew you were going to get that girl. You had eternal faith, you knew. Would you act differently? What if you knew that you were going to get that cash for whatever, for the job? What if you knew you were going to have enough friends? You knew you were going to have enough money to get, this car or whatever you wanted? What if you knew that? If you had faith, complete faith, how would you be moving in the world? Now, this happened to me a while ago. Is at a base level. The base level faith for me was that I'm gonna be okay. Not necessarily great or amazing, but okay. I'm not gonna just fucking get, I don't know, tortured or murdered or something. I have faith in that. That is my base level of faith. But as I've gotten more into the teachings and the understandings and reading and stuff, it's developed into something else, and into where I know that I'm not just gonna be okay, I'm gonna be great. Really, great. Amazing. And then I look at my life and it's fuck, man, this thing has been great. This thing has been amazing. How the fuck did I get to fucking Harvard? What the hell? How did I go to law school? What the fuck? How I went to Europe? What the fuck? How did this shit happen, man? This story has actually been amazing. And then I find some guy on the internet and he's teaching me all this dope shit. And then I move to come and I hang out with him all the time. What the fuck? I'm living at base 2 with a bunch of dope ass dudes who are all also living this dream in their own sense. They're all we're all different versions of kind of the same thing, right? We're all we're different manifestations of this thing. Wait, let me see. Okay, yeah. So what if you knew that you were in the exact right spot that you needed to be for your evolution? Well, I'm telling you, that's true. Whatever is occurring at this very moment is exactly what needs to be occurring. Because if it weren't happening, it wouldn't be perfect. Like I remember reading this when I was first reading Stoicism. It's like, I don't wish that my life is any different than it is. Because what it is exactly what my life needs to be. So if you're going through some bullshit right now, that's exactly what you need to be going through, bro. If you're going through like a period of prosperity and abundance, that's exactly what you're supposed to be going through right now. I've been around, I've seen these waves, right? I've seen these flows enough to know that they're temporary. And while you're in them, they teach you whatever you need to know. Like while I was a child practicing Taekwondo, I learned what I needed to know. While I was practicing the saxophone, I learned what I needed to know from that. Like music, rhythm, fucking dancing, like having the joy of being in a concert, the nerves, oh my gosh, before a concert, the frustration in the practice, like there's so much that goes along, man, in this world. And it was all perfect for me to learn what I needed to learn. Then I went to Harvard. Oh my God, bro. If we're being for real, I like hated Harvard, man. That shit was lame. It was horrible. I wanted to quit. I was like, fuck this place. But I needed to experience that. What did I experience? I left home. I was now with my mom and my dad. I was in a new fucking city by myself, surrounded by, you know, like all my life I had been like, you know, the smart one or whatever. I fucking graduated valedictorian. Then I go to Harvard, motherfucker, like 95% of them were also valedictorian of their classes. I was like, I thought I was special, motherfucker. I was not special. There was nothing that cool about me compared to everyone else. Like these were all of the super dope, smart kids of all Earth combined here, and then they compete here, and that's where I was. I was like, fuck, man. And then it was cold as shit, and like I didn't like it. It was bad weather. Like the food wasn't that good. Like it was just it was bullshit. But man, it taught me what I needed to learn. In while I was there, which is really, really interesting and really unfortunate. Like I found out. I came to the conclusion that I was like atheist by talking to like an atheist friend. And that really fucked me. So like in this storyline, I see that was where like the darkness came in, right? That's going through the trial and through the tribulation. Like I felt like Simba, you know, Simba in The Lion King, whenever he leaves, he thinks he killed his dad, right? He's convinced by Scar that he killed his dad. And then Scar tells him to like go and never return. Like I feel like symbolically, like that was a very similar thing to what happened. Like I was kicked out of the kingdom because I had killed my father. And my father here being like my belief in God. I had killed my father. I had killed Mufasa, and I'm out now in like the wilderness and the loneliness. And I'm trying to like figure something out. And then meeting in Timon and Pumbaa, I would think of that as like, probably, dude, if we're for real, it would probably be the kind of like drugs. Like, cause then I started, like I did acid and like mushrooms and shit. And so like, that's like, it means no worries for the rest of your days. Like that was like a thing. And so I got into that, and I was like super into like crystals and chakra. Like I was looking, bro, what I was looking for the father. I thought I had killed my father, and I was looking for my father symbolically. And then what does the hero do? Eventually he realizes he needs to go back home. The prodigal son must return. All right, do y'all know what that is? The prodigal son? All right, let's look it up. So this comes from the Bible, the prodigal son, a figure in a parable of Jesus, Luke 15:11-32. A wayward son who squanders his inheritance, but returns home to find that his father forgives him. That's the prodigal son. And really, I feel like that's been my entire journey. And like I just came back home like 2 months ago. Like when I turned 17 and I left the kingdom after having killed my father. And then I'm 29 now, 12 years later. 12 years later, I come back home and I realize that the Father has forgiven me. And like imagine come back home and you're like crying and you're like, I'm sorry, like I don't know why I left. I was stupid, I did the wrong things. But you come home and your Father forgives you. And that is the love of God, like for real. It's like, man, you like imagine you leave for 12 years and you come back home and your Father greets you and he says, welcome home. I miss you. How are you? Like, you want some food? And we got some food. You want to go get some food? Let's go get some food. Tell me about your journeys. How was it? Did you learn anything? Did you meet new people? Did you go on any adventures? Like how was it for you out there? I know you thought that you were disconnected from me, but really that was just, you were going through what you needed to go through. But I had never left you. Even though you left me, I never left you. What if he was always in your heart the entire time? So again, like let's go back to the movie The Lion King. He goes into the field and he's like desperate and he doesn't know what to do. And then he looks in the sky, and in the sky is Mufasa, like the clouds shape and form into Mufasa. And they tell him, Simba, remember who you are. And I've always liked that, man. I feel like that those words just hit so well, and I think they will forever like resonate with me. Like I assume this happens to other people too, because that was such a big movie. They did a fucking remake 20 years later, I think, because it was so good. Like this storyline is deep in the human heart, I think. And it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's also like, it's basically Hamlet, I think, that Shakespeare made. Like they say, like go look at these stories, and they run the exact thing. It's like the uncle kills the king, then kicks out the son, and then the son comes back to take over the kingdom. Like this is a story that has been replayed throughout all of human society, like throughout all of human history. It's like it's deep within the collective unconscious of man. And so, like, remember who you are. And what you are is the son of the divine, the son of the king. But the king is dead. So who are you now? Well, you're the new king. Of course that's what you are. What else are you? Remember who you are. Remember your father. Because what belongs to the king belongs to the prince. His kingdom is our kingdom. What is his is yours. Is this universe your father's or not? Because if it is, then it's yours, bro. The shit belongs to you. It's like, who else does it belong to? Nobody else. It's fucking yours, man. So take it for what it is, man. Now that brings two things. One is enjoy it because it's here for you to enjoy. The other thing is be responsible or take care of it because it's yours. Like I have a fucking car, like I'm not just gonna let it go to shit and let it get fucked up and then crash it or whatever. Like I'm not here to destroy what is mine. I'm here to take care of it. But I'm also not just gonna be fucking anxious forever. Every time I drive, I'm like scared I'm gonna get in a car crash. It's like, no, you take care of the thing, but you also enjoy what it is. And so I think of everything that I've got in my life as that, right? Like I got to experience Harvard. That's kind of cool, man. I got to experience law school. That's kind of cool. I had to experience, girlfriends and girls and all that stuff. Like that's kind of cool. I'm experiencing this shit right now. What the fuck? Hell yeah. Thank you. Like all really just eternal gratitude, man. Like they say gratitude is the attitude. Proctor Gallagher, if you know who that is. Gratitude is the attitude. There is no other attitude for you to engage this world with. If you engage it with resentment, with hurt, with anger, oh man, you're fucked. That only fucks you up. Forgive whoever did that shit that you're angry to. Forgive whoever made you angry. Forgive whoever made you resentful. Like Allow that thing to leave, because once that leaves, you get clarity. What it is, it's fucking with your mind. It's fucking with the way you perceive. Anger creates a cloud, right? It's like an entity. It's like something that takes you over. You allow the anger, you allow the resentment to take you over, and then you can no longer see. So whenever I forgave my mom, I forgave my dad, like that cloud vanished. And now I see them better. I don't think I fully see them, right? Because I don't think I ever really will. They're their own person, man. Every other person is their own universe, own experiences. Like, you don't really know them. So they experience what they experience, and they did for me what they could do for me. And so just look at that. Just see that shit. There's not much else that you should be doing other than being grateful that they did what they did. They did their best. Now it's up to you to do what you do. And as you do what you do, it should not be clouded by all this like hate, man. It's really disgusting. It's like poison, man. It's like you're poisoning yourself with this shit. Don't do that, man. Why would you choose to poison yourself, like, consciously? Why would you consciously want to hurt yourself? We're doing that when we hold on to this hate, when we hold on to fucking anger, when we don't forgive. Like, let it go. You're carrying a weight for no fucking reason. Zero fucking reason. There's no reason for that. Okay. All right, let's go a little bit more. Dude, I really fucking love this book. I think it's actually amazing. And I don't, like, fuck, man, I don't know how. Okay, let's just keep going. All right, this is going to be the last, yeah, it's only a few pages, very few pages. We're going to finish it off with this. Chapter 8, Absolute Freedom. Arjuna said, so this is you and me, we're the hero. Arjuna said, what is this absolute freedom, Krishna? What is the self with a capital S? What is the true nature of action? The nature of beings and of gods? Teach me by the way of worship what it is here in the body, and how at the hour of death can a man be with you in spirit. The blessed Lord said, freedom is union with the deathless. The self is the essence of all things. Its creative power, called action, causes the whole world to be. Let's do that again. Freedom is union with the deathless. So what is death? Something that doesn't die, something that's eternal. Freedom is union with the eternal. Think of it that way. The self is the essence of all things. Its creative power, called action, causes the whole world to be. About beings, know that they die. Bam, we're going to die. Memento mori. About gods, know the supreme person, and know that true worship is I myself, here in this body. Whoever in his final moments thinks of me only is sure to enter my state of being once his body is dead. Whatever the state of being that a man may focus upon at the end, when he leaves his body, to that state of being he will go. I've actually heard this. Like, people, whenever they like, if they've been pronounced legally dead, like, whatever they believed, like, and they're like, so if they were legally dead but then like came back to life somehow, like, whatever they believed at the end of their lives is like what happened to them. So if you there's this dude, I just remember there's this movie who kind of goes into that. I think it was about Buddhism. I remember watching it back in college. So like, basically, whenever the Christian woman dies, she goes to heaven. Like, that's what happens to her, because that's what she believed. Whenever the Muslim dies, he gets, I think it's like 72 virgins. I don't really know. I believe that's the saying, or that's the story. And then the atheist, after he dies, experiences nothing, because that's what he believed. So, whatever the state of being that a man may focus upon at the end, when he leaves his body, to that state of being he will go. So at this very moment, what I think is reincarnation. And so I think I'm going to go to like a higher level of either human or like some angel, or like, you know, like some sort of some sort of higher level. That's what I assume is going to happen at my death. So that's what I believe. That's probably what's going to happen. Therefore, Arjuna, meditate on me at all times and fight. With your whole mind intent on me, you will come to me. Never doubt it. Hell yeah. Strong in the practice of yoga, with a mind that is rooted in me and in nothing else, you will reach the supreme person that I am. Meditate on the guide, the giver of all, the primordial poet, nice, smaller than an atom, unthinkable, brilliant as the sun. If you do this at the hour of your death with an unmoving mind, drawing your breath up between your eyebrows, you will reach the person that I am. I will teach you about the state called the eternal, the absolute, which those who strive toward me enter, desireless, freed from attachments. Closing the 9 gates of the body, keeping the attention in the heart, drawing the breath to the forehead, with the mind absorbed, one-pointed. Uttering the sacred Om, which itself is freedom. Focused on me as you leave the body, you attain the ultimate goal. For men whose minds are forever focused on me, whose love has grown deep through meditation, I am easy to reach. Arjuna. God is easy to reach for those whose minds are forever focused on him, whose love has grown deep through meditation. I am easy to reach, Arjuna. Reaching me, these great souls attain the supreme perfection and no longer are reborn in this fleeting world of sorrow and pain. See, like it's really interesting, man. Like I wonder, like, do I want to reach nirvana? Do I want to get out of the cycle of birth and rebirth? And I honestly, my answer right now is no, because I think I'm afraid of like death, and I kind of want to keep playing this game. Like this game is fun, so like let me be born as something else and let me play that. Like that's kind of what like I think I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain that's a naive and like a childish way of looking at it, but that's just honestly how I feel. But I think the ultimate goal is to obviously want to reach it and be free. Reaching me, these great souls attain the supreme perfection and no longer are reborn in this fleeting world of sorrow and pain. Yeah, there is sorrow and pain, so that's true. All realms, up to the realm of Brahma, are subject to rebirth. But those who attain me, Arjuna, will never be reborn again. I guess it would be cool to remember everything, not have to be reborn, right? If you know that one single day or on one single night of Brahma lasts more, or one night, if you know that one single day or one single night of Brahma lasts more than 4 billion years, you understand day and night. What? When the day comes, all things emerge from the depths of unmanifest nature. When night comes, all things dissolve into the unmanifest again. These multitudes of beings in an endless, beginningless cycle helplessly dissolve when Brahma's night comes and emerge once more at his dawn. But beyond this unmanifest nature is another unmanifest state, a primal existence that is not destroyed when all things dissolve. This is the eternal unmanifest and is called the ultimate goal. Men who reach this, my supreme dwelling, are never reborn. This supreme person, Arjuna, who contains all beings and extends to the limits of all that is, can be reached by wholehearted devotion. Now, Arjuna, I will tell you the times at which men of yoga die and must be reborn, or die never to return. Fire, light, day, the moon's brightness, the 6 months of north-turning sun, dying then, men who are free go to absolute freedom. Smoke, gloom, nights, the moon's darkness, the 6 months of the south-turning sun, dying then, men of yoga reach the moon's light and return. Yeah, I understand. I know that like there's like the story is that the moon keeps us trapped somehow. And I think of that because I'm like, dude, I love the moon. I think it's so dope. I think it's so beautiful. But I know in the Eastern stories, they say that we're trapped by the moon. And I think it's some sort of like it's some sort of symbolism. Like, what if that's literal? What if it's symbolic? What if it's both? Like, there is something about the moon that keeps us in a dream state. Like the anime show Naruto, the villains, their ultimate goal is to put the entire world in like a hypnosis called the Infinite Tsukuyomi. And it is reflected off of the moon. So like the moon literally changes colors and turns red and like has little signature symbols on it. And it creates a massive hypnosis where everyone is living, but they're living in a dream, in something that's not real. And so, like, would you want to live in a dream world, but it's like all of your greatest desires fulfilled, or would you rather live in reality? And that's kind of like the basis of the Matrix too. And I think that's a very real like question for us. And me knowing the stories, it's that, yeah, that's nice, but what you want is reality. Because I think even like in getting your desires, you are actually like trapping yourself. And I think that's why it talks so much about not having not being attached to results, or not having desires, or just being unattached. It's like that thing traps you. Like wanting the girl so fucking bad, it fucking traps you. Like wanting the money so fucking bad, it traps you, dude. Wanting the title, wanting the glory, and all of that shit, it's trapping you. It's trapping you in the moon. So you can go to the moon, but you'll be reborn again, and you start over, and you do this shit again. These paths of light and of darkness have always existed by one. A man will escape from rebirth. By the other, he is born again. So choose the light or the dark. You want the moon or you want the sun? Knowing these two paths, Arjuna, the man of yoga at all times, resolute in his non-attachment, goes far beyond the merit. Okay, what does merit mean? Merit, it means like it's like a skill, or like it's like basing something on what it deserves. Like properly giving something its merit is like, okay, that's an A, that's a B, that's a C. Well, you earn the A, so you get the A. You earn the B, you get the B. Like that's merit. That's my interpretation. What does merit mean? Merit definition: the quality of being particularly good or worthy, especially so as to deserve praise or reward. Deserve or be worthy of. Yeah, so like to get what is worthy. Knowing these two paths, Arjuna, the man of yoga at all times, resolute in his non-attachment, goes far beyond the merit. Gained from the study of the scriptures, from acts of worship or control or charity, dying, he reaches the supreme primordial peace. All right, man. So let's study the scripture and reach the primordial peace, because it's already here. It's already within. So be in it. Be in God's kingdom right now. You're already here. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. This was the Yin Yang Wolfpack on IMC TV. Join our Telegram group. Follow me on Instagram. We can discuss and like really get along this journey, man. Like, this journey can be so beautiful. Like this journey is so beautiful. And I remember there was a time where I didn't think that. I thought it was miserable and I was in pain and I was suffering. I am not that now. I mean, there's suffering and there's hurt and there's all that bullshit now, but it's like, I see where this thing leads, man. And this thing is giving me so much fruit and I'm enjoying the fruit. And hopefully you can enjoy it with me. Come to base 2. You can come here, be a resident, live with us, go out with AZD, learn this shit, like be in person. You need this experience. You need to be a part of this experience because you don't know what you're missing out on, man. You really don't. All right.